And Philadelphia has it.
What is going on, everybody? Welcome back to DSM Pregame Live, streaming to you guys exclusively on the DSM Media YouTube channel. I'm Dylan Davis. That's Phil Stifle. Below me, my co-host on Turf Talk, Scotty. You can find us all of our work, all the content over on at DSM_media on Twitter. Check the link tree out in our bio to take you to every social media platform we are available on. Happy Sunday. The Eagles finally play a 1 p.m. game again, fellas. Feels out of the normal routine as of late for the last month or so. But how are we feeling?
About the Eagles, or how are we feeling personally and physically?
How are we today, Phil?
I am damn glad they're playing at 1 o'clock. That means I don't got to say it
man.
Like that, man. Game's over at 4. We can have dinner, go to bed at a respectable time, and celebrate an Eagles victory.
Absolutely, man. I'm excited for the 1 p.m. slate as well because, I shouldn't say the slate, the 1 p.m. Timing of the game, because it's just been a while, right? And then next week we got another Sunday night football game. That's going to be another late one. But honestly, it allows me to move on with my day, right? Once we get it out of the way at 1, all my nerves, we can settle it. If we're going to lose, if we're going to win, whatever the case may be, my nerves will be settled after the game. And I can ultimately move on after 1 p.m. After 4
it determines my mood for the rest of the day. I already know how to feel, right? I'm either happy and I'm cool for the rest of the night, or I'm either depressed or extremely angry. Listen, a primetime game, a Sunday night football game's cool. Once in a while, it's nice watching Red Zone all day and then getting ready for the game. There's been a month, it feels like, since we've just had a regularly scheduled game.
Which does that play a factor into the Eagles at all, that they haven't had a normal schedule?
I think so. Slightly, not a lot. I'm not,
Football players like their routine.
Yeah.
Monday off, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday practice, Friday off, or Friday instill, walk through whatever, Saturday off. They like their routine. When you're constantly flipping the schedule around, it throws that routine off.
Absolutely. I was actually going to say I'm happy that we kind of play before the Cowboys. So if we win and they lose, I can talk my shit. Because last week I was talking my shit. We didn't play yet, and I had to eat those words. Yeah. So that's another happy moment for me to have this game at 1 p.m. But I'm with you, Phil. I do think just all the nationally televised games, it can be a little much, right? And having to play in those primetime slots, but also having that pressure of nationally televised as well. It is a lot of pressure that comes with that to perform on the big stage. So I think it'll be good for the Eagles to get back to that 1 p.m. game and kind of get into that, like you said, a normal routine.
Well, listen, man, you had bye week, 1 p.m. start, Thursday night short week, extra day Monday night football. That's a problem. They were traveling within it too to Houston, so a lot was going on. But guys, if you want to be interactive throughout the show, hit us up in the comment section. We'll pull up. We'll try to get to as many of your comments, thoughts, questions about the game. We're going to talk keys to victory, key matchups, what the Eagles need to improve on from last week, and that's where we'll start right then and there. Phil, I'll throw it to you first. Give me something the Eagles can do differently or improve on from last week to bounce back after their first loss of the season. This is uncharted waters for us this year. We've had victory Mondays, victory Fridays. We've had a lot of victory moments this year. It's the first time we faced defeat. How can they bounce back? What's one thing that you look to do today?
Well, the obvious is stop the run, so I won't say stop the run. I will say it's on offense, and it's controlling the time of possession.
Yeah,
you got gashed on last week, but on top of that, you just had no offensive flow. So it seems like every single week this year, the Eagles have deferred the football to the second half. Yeah. I want the Eagles to get the ball first. I want the Eagles to take advantage of the ball, get their offense rolling. Yeah, you want to see runs, but whether they're runs or short passes or bubble screens or screen passes, whatever. I just want to see an early, effective, long drive to control the clock on their end. That's kind of what I want to see from the Eagles. And that's how you kind of fix, some of last week's. What was it last week? 83 to 50, the snap count offense to defense?
Yeah, it was crazy.
You can't have it even remotely close to that big of a disparity. No. You know what I mean? So I want to see the Eagles come out, get the ball first, and have their offense moving right away. Get the confidence back in Jalen Hurts. in that offense and moving the ball.
Time of possession is extremely key because I feel like the Eagles have done a very good job of dominating that area of the game throughout the year. Last week, they got crushed on that end. Last week, they lost the turnover battle for the first time all season. A lot of fluky things, a lot of things, happened in that loss on Monday night. Miles Sanders is averaging almost 5 yards per carry. It's extremely important to get him going and do it early. Yeah. No need that. There's no reason or explanation you can give me that Miles Sanders has 1 carry in the first half of a football game. It should never happen. And it's like, why did it take so long for Nick to realize that? I need quicker adjustments. That's one thing I'm looking for today. Quicker adjustments from both coaching staff. Scotty, I want to throw this one to you. One thing I think that they can change this week from last week, Phil, you brought up the run game, and I love for the time being what Howie did. He listened, he analyzed, he saw the hole, he saw the injuries, and he went out and not only got 1 guy, but 2 guys that can help the interior of this defensive line and hopefully help run stopping on defense, right? But to me, it's not even that. I know people were up in arms about the run defense, and rightfully so for the last couple of weeks, right? The Eagles gave up just over 3 yards per carry against Washington. The difference was Washington just kept running. They didn't get gashed by the run. There were no big plays for the most part. The thing I'm looking to change is not that Sue or Linval Joseph comes in and helps and is a huge benefit to the run defense. I'm looking for Jonathan Gannon to adjust and Jonathan Gannon to not play that soft sit back zone coverage, especially on 3rd and short situations. Indianapolis is going to try to take the same exact game script Washington laid out, especially with Jonathan Taylor back there. And they're going to try to get you into 3rd and 3, 3rd and 2, 3rd and 1 situations. You need 3rd down stops. And how do you do that? Man up, get Darius Slay, get James Bradbury up on the line of scrimmage, press coverage. Trust these guys, man. If you get beat deep once, who the hell cares? Trust your playmakers on the outside. They're good enough, I promise you. So the soft coverage is the biggest thing for me, not just stopping the run. Scotty, thoughts on that? And what are you looking at for them to adjust on?
Just tightening up the defense as a whole, kind of, imposing your will, right? That's my biggest thing with this entire Eagles unit. Like the offense and defense, stick to your guns, impose your will, use the talent that you have on this roster. We talked about this earlier this week. The Eagles have a top 3 roster in the NFL overall. Like if you go position by position, use them to their best skill set, right? Trust them. And that goes along with what you were saying, just as far as tightening up the defense as a whole, right? The run defense, the pass defense, those 3rd downs. Washington killed us on 3rd downs, and it was part of having they were staying ahead of the chains, right? Everything was 3rd and 3, 3rd and 1, 3rd and 2. So they were getting a lot of short yardage 3rd down plays, and they were taking advantage of them. And like you said, you got to have Slay playing up. Obviously, we saw Terry McLaurin running wide open, right, in this zone coverage.
And people misconstrue that as a horrible Slay game. Now, don't get me wrong. Slay had a couple.
It wasn't great. It wasn't good, but
a couple issues early on in the game. He had a penalty, whatever. There was a lot of soft zone coverage, a lot of bracket where Slay is the closest guy near the receiver, but he's not getting beat. He's not losing the one-on-one battle to McLaurin, and people see him in the background of the screen, and they're like, well, Slay's not showing up. No, that's Gannon not trusting him to do. Like, how do you shut down Justin Jefferson in week 2, and you don't try to implement the same exact thing against a Terry McLaurin, who Taylor Heineke's trying to get the ball to? So with that being said, how big of a factor, Scotty, is a Michael Pittman Jr. today? How big of a factor is not just stopping the run, is allowing Slay and or Bradbury to take out the number 1? I know Michael Pittman Jr. is not Terry McLaurin, but to take away Matt Ryan's first read.
It's super important to take him away. As we saw last week, right? Terry McLaurin had a great game last week, and that was ultimately him coming up in clutch spots on those 3rd down plays. So I do think it's important, right? Stopping Jonathan Taylor, not Justin Taylor. Stopping Jonathan Taylor in the run game, right? Not letting him get involved in the passing game as well, because he can catch it out of the backfield. But then the next guy in line is Michael Pittman Jr. He is that guy. And he's a big physical receiver, right? And those we've seen those type of guys give Slay a little bit of issues in the past. DK Metcalf, for instance, right? So I want to see Slay obviously on Pittman. I want to see the very tight coverage, and I want to see Slay win that matchup as he should. But it is going to be super important. Where I would make the adjustment that you asked me about earlier, mistake-free football. That's what they've been playing all season, and I think that's going to be the key in this. It's going to be the key down the stretch, right? It's probably the best statistic that the Eagles are succeeding in the entire, out of all the statistics that are available for this team as far as the success they're having. Turnover battle, winning that is the most important in this game, and it's going to prove true today. We can't have, the interception and then the fumbles. The fumbles have to stop, right? Yeah. There was like 3 or 4 fumbles in that game, and it ultimately cost us the game. So I need us to control the turnover battle.
So real quick,
go ahead.
Stopping Pittman, Jonathan Taylor is going to get his. They're going to hand him the ball 25, 35 times. If you can control his yards per carry, keep him at 3.5 yards a carry. Even if he gets 30 rushes for 100 yards, you're winning. What you're doing is to stop Michael Pittman. If we get them in a situation where we do what I want to do, come out early and often get the offense rolling, it's Matt Ryan, it's Michael Pittman, it's these guys. They're the most sacked team in the NFL.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
The linebackers, Hassan Reddick, somebody getting after. If Matt Pryor does not give up a sack today, then we've lost this game. Even if we win the game, we're losing. You know what I mean? So it's getting after Matt Ryan. Matt Ryan is like that Eli Manning, Carson Wentz statue back there. All you got to do is breathe on the guy, and he's going to go down. Yeah. You really need to – you can control Michael Pittman by just hitting Matt Ryan every time he drops back. And it shouldn't take great amount of, like, blitz packages to get at Matt Ryan. You should be able to blitz 4 or just have your front 4 go at him. And you should be able to beat that offensive line.
These are all things that Jonathan Gannon should know and should be able to adjust.
If he doesn't know, then we got a serious problem.
Yeah, because he has that ability, right? And I think the stat that Jason laid out is huge because what is Gannon's biggest fear? Getting beat over the top. This team is not really going to pose that threat to you, so do not worry about it, man. I'll tell you first and foremost, the one thing that this team needs to show today, Scotty, Phil, one thing that needs to be really different from last week, more dit, man. What is it, Scotty? More discipline. What is it? More discipline.
Identity and turnovers.
There it is. More dit from the Birds today.
Live by it.
Phil, I want to go back to this comment by Jason because I know you've talked about it. People are talking about it. What do you say about the linebackers needing to be better? Because it is true. They haven't been terrible, but TJ Edwards, Kaiser White, they have not been the playmakers they were through the first couple weeks of the season, as well as the fact that the 3rd round draft pick has not seen the field outside of special teams. Not saying he's the answer, not saying he helps tremendously with the run, but does Nakobe Dean get more run this week with the defense?
Will he? I don't think he will, but he should. I mean, he's had 3 defensive snaps this entire season. 3.
Makes no sense.
Now, TJ Edwards, he came out. We talked earlier this season that TJ Edwards and Kaiser White were giving us a good problem. We were going to have too many linebackers.
Yeah.
They were playing really well early. But I don't know how much you guys zone in. I love linebackers. And I watch, and every single game, TJ Edwards is missing 2 tackles. Mm-hmm. Every single game, Kaiser White is 1 second behind somebody in pass coverage. Yeah. That's not what was happening earlier in the season. So now the Eagles Jonathan Gannon seems to be in love with these 2 guys. You drafted Nakobe Dean for a reason. Right, you drafted Nakobe Dean because he's supposed to be a great run-stopping linebacker. Mm-hmm. We can't stop the run. Why not give him 10, 15, 20 snaps? You got Patrick Johnson out there a lot on defense. He's playing 15, 20 snaps a game. You're telling me Patrick Johnson's 15 snaps?
That's my biggest issue. I said this to Scotty the other night on when we were breaking down the Eagles' first loss. My issue isn't the fact that he wants to play, Kaiser White and TJ Edwards a lot. I get it, right? Those guys have gotten you to this point. You were 8-0 up until last week. How does Patrick Johnson leapfrog Nakobe Dean on the depth chart and snap count?
It's similar to like the last couple of years. What was the guy that we traded for?
Gennard Avery.
Yeah.
And the guy was not good. He was not producing anything, but yet he kept getting playing time over other players.
Yeah.
And this goes back to, I brought it up earlier this week on Trending, was there have been rumors in the past seasons under Doug Peterson and other regimes that Howie's got his hand in some of the players stuff, and the scheming. I wonder if this is Howie, having some say, because he's a guy that brought TJ Edwards in here. He's the guy that made the decision to bring in.
He also did draft Nakobe Dean, though.
Yeah, I don't know,
Did he
man.
draft Nakobe Dean because he wanted Nakobe Dean, or did he draft Nakobe Dean because Nakobe Dean in the third round? Holy crap! I can't believe he's there. I've got to take the best player on the board here.
Yeah,
like there could be a little bit of both in that.
So just playing hypothetical, Scotty, real quick. How much of it is an issue if it's the fact that Howie has his hand in on this, which there's been rumors, there's no proof or fact to it, but there's rumors, or the reverse side is it's just that our defensive coordinator seems so inept that he's the reason Nakobe Dean doesn't get on the field, which is worse. And then to your point.
I would honestly go with option C, and I'll tell you what that is here in a second. But out of those two, it would definitely be Howie sticking his nose in the pot, right, and making personnel decisions on game day, which obviously he has been rumored to have done that in the past, and it wouldn't surprise me that if he's doing that with this team as well, just with the young coaching regime. But I absolutely think it would be kind of worse just because we know Gannon has question marks.
Yeah.
But if Howie is like reaching it down, like that's just a whole organizational situation that I just don't want to be happening, quite honestly. But I almost feel like it's a matter of, and I told you about this, I think it was on Thursday, Dylan, but are they just trying to pigeonhole Nakobe Dean into a middle linebacker? Like, is that what the problem is, where he just can't get on the field outside of the middle linebacker position? Right. They won't do it. They don't want to take TJ Edwards off the field. Like, is that why? Because, Patrick Johnson, he was like this tweener safety outside linebacker, so he can play a little bit more in pass coverage, right? I'm just wondering if that is the idea. They don't want to ruin, like, Nakobe Dean and his outlook, because he is a defensive leader. He's a guy that could potentially be a captain on the defense sometime down the line, right? He has to get PT eventually, but I do wonder if they're just kind of pigeonholing him and maybe not using him in the versatile manner that he appears to be, that he could be used in. Because I do agree, he's a guy that led the Georgia defense, one of the best defenses of all time in college football history, and he's just not getting on the field. It makes zero sense, quite honestly. If he's healthy, why is he not getting on the field? It just gives you more options to make plays.
He's playing special teams.
Yeah, so he's healthy.
So he's healthy. So the health aspect of it can't be part of it.
Not a factor. No, I agree with you.
I want to see him. I brought that up before. I'm with you guys. I want to see him.
Yeah, no, I brought it up before. People were commenting or on Twitter saying, maybe he's not fully healthy. Well, then what's he doing playing special teams? I never understood the 1 foot in, 1 foot out kind of thing with athletes where, well, he's not totally healthy. Well, then he shouldn't be playing at all, because then you're just putting that at more risk in the limited amount of snaps that he does get. Listen, I feel like, not that it's been a negative tone on the show, but we're kind of just trying to adjust to how they can improve this week. I believe they do improve this week. So, Phil, I'll throw this to you first. Defensively, we give standout stars on both sides of the ball. Who steps up today? Who is a difference maker on defense for the Eagles to find a way to win?
Well, all right. So, not my standout star on defense, but somebody I do want to see, either Joseph or Sue. I want to see how many snaps they're given. If they can
less snaps Fletcher Cox gets.
Fletcher Cox gets, absolutely. It's got to be. I would like to see 15 snaps from each of these guys. They're both veterans. They know a basic run stopping thing. If you want to use them on goal line situations, whatever.
Fresh legs.
Third down and shorts, whatever. So I'm really excited and curious to see how they're integrated so quickly into
and how much juice they have left.
And how much juice they have left. Absolutely, if they can get any push. I mean, Ndamukong Suh has been not just a great defensive run stopper. He's gotten after the quarterback.
Yeah, he's a disruptor. He had 6 sacks last year.
He's going to be one of those guys that's going to be pushing against Matt Pryor. Mm-hmm. Right guard of the Colts. But to my standout player on defense, it's going to be Hassan Reddick. Somebody's got to step up and get 2 sacks today. I'm going to say it's Hassan Reddick. It could be Sweat. It could be Brandon Graham. I don't know. We're going to get 4 or 5 sacks today at a minimum, in my opinion. So it's going to be more than 1 sack for Hassan Reddick today on this defense.
All right, Hassan Reddick. Scotty, where are you looking at defensively?
Yeah, so on the defensive end, and coming into this game, as far as like the negative tone on the show, I think it's just more or less strictly business today. Last week we had a little fun, and maybe a little too much fun on the Eagles pregame show. A lot of laughing and carrying on, and I think we're just more focused on getting this W today, and we know that we have to get back on the right track. My defensive player of the game, if you wanted to have one, I'm going to go with Marcus Epps. I feel like he's going to make his imprint in this game. I've been waiting on a Marcus Epps-esque game, right? Like, just making one impact play, but being all over the field. We've seen him in the backfield, right? He's helped with the run defense. He's actually been one of our best players in the run on the defensive side of the ball. But I think today he gets involved in a turnover game, maybe forces a fumble, maybe gets an interception, something of that nature, and changes the game. I just love the energy that he's been playing with. He's been a bright spot in my eyes. That safety group in the back has been a bright spot of this season, quite honestly. And I've been impressed with Marcus Epps. So I'm looking for him to have a signature game today. And I feel like this is a good opportunity to do that.
I'm going to stick in the secondary as well, because as I stated earlier on in the show, as much of an issue that the run defense has been, I view Gannon's scheme and I view the secondary and the soft coverage more of an issue. I'm not afraid of Matt Ryan. I'm not afraid of week 2, Jeff Saturday and company calling plays here, right? I'm not afraid of Michael Pittman Jr. and Alec Pierce and Mo Alley Cox and whoever else they have skill position-wise outside of Jonathan Taylor. I'm really not. I'm going to go back to the well. Maybe it's one too many times, but he let us down a little bit last week, partly because of him, partly because of scheme. I'm going to Darius Slay. It feels like it's been quite some time since big play Slay has had a major impact on a game, and that's because teams really haven't thrown at him outside of last week. I think Matt Ryan does. I think he makes a mistake. I think Matt Ryan definitely turns the football over at least once today. And I'll go, it's between Bradbury and Slay. It's one of the top 2 corners for me, but I will go with Darius Slay to get an interception.
I said it last week on pregame show. Can Chauncey Gardner-Johnson please share some of these interceptions?
Yeah. At the same time, it's like,
come on
how
now.
cool is it to just watch a week, another one. All right, so we started defense there. We have Slay, we have Epps, and we have Hassan Reddick. Scotty, I'll throw it to you first. Offensively, I saw Jason's comment earlier. He thinks A.J. Brown has a big bounce-back week after a 1-catch, 7-yard performance last week. He's healthy, right? I mean, he nicked himself up last week. He comes back in. He's been fine all week, apparently. Who are you going with this week offensively to step up?
Yeah, I actually do like the A.J. Brown pick. I think he could have a day today. It's against an old division rival, right? He used to play on the Titans. He's familiar with the Indianapolis Colts. So I think there's room for an A.J. Brown game. And something we haven't talked about the entire day is the fact that Dallas Goedert isn't playing, right? So there's going to be more targets spread around for everybody else. Yeah, so wanted to shout him out because that's going to be a huge missing piece, right? That it's not talked about enough how good this guy is, although he is a consensus, I would say, this season top 3 tight end this season. So in the run game, he blocks well. He also obviously can do everything after the catch. So it's going to be a big missing piece. I just didn't want to let that slide by. My player of the game today, it's got to be Miles Sanders, man. You got to pound the rock today. You have to pound the rock on offense. I'm not taking no for an answer. He needs, correct me if I'm wrong, he needs 20 carries today. And I know it probably will not happen. They'll get split up. Some will go to Boston.
I think 17 or 18 is the floor for me.
17, 18 carries today for Miles Sanders. Get him in the end zone, but more or less
out of the
keep
jump,
him involved.
Off the jump too.
Out of the jump. Keep him involved in the offense. And just stick to your identity. That's part of it, man. Sticking to your identity, run the football. Miles Sanders is your leading running back. He's, like Jason said earlier, averaging close to 5 yards per carry. Give him the football. It's very simple. But that's going to be my player of the game today. I see him at least 75 rushing yards today. A touchdown, maybe not. Maybe Jalen Hurts takes it. I don't know. But it's not about that. It's just keeping him involved in the offense. Which is so
annoying for gambling purposes because you never know who's going to do it week to week.
Yeah.
Phil, we have an A.J. Brown vote in the comments. We have a Miles Sanders pick here.
I'm going to follow it up with more stats on Scotty's because Miles Sanders is 100%. So people think that, the Colts with Jonathan Taylor, they run the ball nonstop, blah, blah, blah. They actually give up more yards per game on the ground than they actually get on their own. They give up over 110 yards a game as a rushing defense. They give up in a passing league. They give up under 200 yards a game passing.
Interesting.
Okay. So this game, Jalen Hurts is going to pass the ball. Yes, Nick Sirianni and Shane Steichen are going to get the ball to A.J. Brown and Devontae Smith, but with no Dallas Goedert. We don't know what Grant Calcaterra, Jack Stoll, maybe Tyree Jackson, what's going to happen with that tight end situation.
Yeah.
Miles Sanders is going to get the ball, and this is a defense you can run on. Absolutely, you can run on this defense.
Yeah,
maybe Quez Watkins, maybe Zach Pascal. You know?
Yeah. Zach Pascal's an interesting one.
He's
with
a
no
big
Dallas
guy.
The team.
Zach Pascal's one of those guys that could play the routes Dallas Goedert runs.
I
in
agree.
the slot or in the wide, not on the line. Zach Pascal could fill those routes for sure.
I agree. Middle of the field.
This defense that the Colts has is worse at stopping the run than stopping the pass. So it's a Miles Sanders, maybe
So
even
obvious.
a Scott gets some play tonight.
Yeah.
Or today. You know, I need to see the Eagles with 120 rushing yards from their running backs, not counting Miles, or not counting Jalen Hurts.
Yeah, I like it.
Both great points, and I agree with both, obviously. Scotty, you brought up the no Dallas Goedert point, and life could get a little difficult and a little tricky here over the next couple of weeks.
Yeah.
Phil, you mentioned how good Indianapolis is against the pass, but it's not just them. I think we're undervaluing how important Dallas Goedert is. Not undervaluing, but just not talked about enough. Even when he's not catching a pass, the gravity he controls in the middle of the field. So much of their offense is revolved around Dallas Goedert, right? Yeah. I think A.J. Brown, with no Dallas Goedert, I think A.J. Brown garners a lot of attention today. I still think they find a way to get him the ball, but I think he gets a lot of attention from Indianapolis today, who has a good pass defense. Devontae Smith is the guy for me. I know he scored last week on his birthday, but really since week 3 against Washington, when he went off with the big catch and had 140, 150 plus receiving yards, right? I'm looking for Devontae Smith to show up today and relieve some of the stress with the no Dallas Goedert, with all the attention A.J. Brown's going to get. I think Devontae Smith needs to have a big day today. Not big in terms of, 8 catches for 150, but 6-7 catches, moments, 85 plus yards, maybe get in the end zone. Just be a safety valve for Jalen Hurts when Brown isn't available. No Nick Sirianni. That does not mean I want to see wide receiver screen to Devontae Smith over and over again. But find a way to get him in a rhythm and get him in a rhythm a little early.
How confident are you guys in Jack Stoll?
Confident?
I have more confidence in Grant Calcaterra.
Me too. I might have more confidence in Tyreek Jackson
to replace the Dallas Goedert role. Jack Stoll's not bad, but Jack Stoll's one of those guys.
Not a pass catching tight end.
Well, he can catch the ball. He doesn't have bad hands, but he doesn't have the ability to run routes. He's a guy when Dallas Goedert's on the field and you want to direct everybody's attention to this side and then have Jack Stoll run a 3-yard out pattern and dump the ball off for a quick gain. That's all Grant. That's all Jack Stoll can do. Right. Jack Stoll's not going to be running the routes that Dallas Goedert does.
Tyreek Jackson's in the field today?
He might. They loved him before he got hurt over a year ago. So he just hasn't been on a football field in a year.
So Grant Calcaterra, he has 1 catch this year, but it's for 40 yards, right?
Yeah.
That's the only one I remember.
He does have a connection with Jalen Hurts. I think his freshman year in college was Hurts' senior. I don't know. They've played together before.
I did not know that.
There is a connection between the two of them.
Let me throw this to you guys before we give our predictions and give out some bets and wrap this thing up before the kickoff here. How much are you interested to see if Nick and Shane switch up the offensive approach and maybe go a little bit more spread, 5 wide? Because we run a lot of 12 personnel. We run a lot of 2 tight end sets, whether it's in the running game or, like Phil said, they love using the tight ends. I have no interest in putting Jack Stoll and Grant Calcaterra on the field together at the same time. Why can't we see A.J. Brown, Devontae Smith, Quez Watkins, and a Zach Pascal or a Kenny Gainwell in the slot, something like that? Spread out this defense.
I think I talked about that on Friday on Trending. Kenneth Gainwell, you're going to see more 2 running back sets maybe. Or Kenneth Gainwell in that slot. I'm not a Kenneth Gainwell fan, but the team is a fan of him. The team likes to use him.
And I think
more packages for Kenneth Gainwell to catch balls, in this game.
I think a 2 running back set can also open up, add another wrinkle to the RPO they like to run with so much misdirection and stuff. Scotty, what were you about to say?
No, I was going to kind of agree with your point and Phil's point earlier about Zach Pascal. I think he is the guy that you can kind of use in a versatile manner because he's a good blocker, right? He's their best blocking wide receiver. So you can use him in a lot of different facets, especially with no Goddard. And I think he could maybe fill that void, a lot of that void, I feel. from his slot spot, kind of playing off the line a little bit, right? Just a little bit of different stuff. He's a versatile player. He's a bigger bodied receiver. So I think he could be used. But I'm with you guys. I like the 2 running back sets idea, maybe splitting Kenneth Gainwell, whatever the case may be. Even Boston Scott, I know this doesn't get talked to, and it doesn't need to be talked about a lot, but he's a solid player, right? He's had moments where he can spark a team. So no issue. You gotta see what you got now, right? You got to try some different things with no Dallas Goedert, and I think we may have missed that earlier on in the show talking about it because it is such a huge piece. But they got to figure out what they're going to do, what that identity is after Dallas Goedert, with him missing some time here. So it's going to be interesting to watch.
One last thing, not kind of like a key or a new wrinkle or a different wrinkle I'm looking at in the offense. And it's the fact that I need Nick to understand what's happening today with no Goddard, with all the backlash you got for not establishing the run early. And that's your identity, right? Because to Phil's point about how good Indianapolis's pass defense has been, I don't want to see Jalen Hurts in 3rd and 8, 3rd and 7, 3rd and long situations a lot. Yeah. Run the ball early and get them in the 3rd and manageable situations where you can use the RPO and use other situations in those 3rd down plays. As well as Scotty, I texted you about this. Was it Thursday night football possibly, or was it a college game? I forget, but classic. I see it all the time. Take a deep shot on 1st and 10. Incomplete, run the ball into the belly of the line of scrimmage, 3rd and 9. And I can't, bro, if you were throwing the ball on 1st down, throw the ball on 2nd down. I need you to get the running game going on 1st and whatever. Yeah. That's when I want to see the running game.
Short yardage situations.
100%. Do not give me 2nd and 10, run up the middle, and now we're at 3rd and 8.
It's crazy that we're having to talk about this because that is the Eagles. That is their identity this entire season, right? Like, up until last week, that is what they have been doing all season. It's just so crazy to see where we are just a week ago, just a week from last week, right after a loss. We're having to kind of get back to the basics.
Dictate the tempo, limit penalties, limit turnovers, and show more dit. So, fellas, predictions, and then as well, when you give your prediction, Phil, I'll throw it to you first. Give me your best Eagles play you got today.
All right, so I got the Eagles winning this game. Okay. Mm-hmm. And I had written down, because doing these pre-games, you like your best bets. Yeah. And I had written down 2 best bets.
Okay.
I changed it in the last hour or 2 in my mind because I'm so confident that we win this game. So I had originally Miles Sanders over 59.5 yards. It's -125. I thought that was going to be my best bet of the day. But I'm honestly 110% super confident that the Eagles cover the -6.5. And that is my best bet. It's -110. I got the Eagles winning 27-17. Okay. It sounds closer than you would think, but I think because of the fact that the Eagles will actually run the football, I think obviously the Colts will run the football because that's just what they do. There will be less plays. So getting to 30, 35 points and the Colts getting to 21, 22 points, whatever it is, there's not going to be enough plays to get that to happen. So I got a lower scoring game at 27-17. So the Eagles cover the 6.5 without a problem, in my opinion.
Best bet, like Eagles on the spread. Scotty, prediction, and give me your best bet, or give me a parlay you got.
Yeah, so I got 2 parlays here. So my best bet is going to be +130. I followed Phil's lead there, -6.5 for the Birds, cover the spread. Also over 24.5 points, so over 25 points for the Eagles. And that comes out to +130. That's going to be my best bet of the day. So I'm kind of tailing Phil in a sense there. My parlay play of the day is going to be a Miles Sanders touchdown, 45+ rushing yards for Miles Sanders. I think he should get that in his sleep today, but 54.5 receiving yards for A.J. Brown. So I am following the script that Jason was talking about. As I mentioned earlier, just familiarity with playing the Colts. There's just something about it that I do like, but I do feel you, Dylan, as far as like all the attention from no Dallas Goedert being on AJ. So there's a chance that one doesn't hit, but that would be my shakiest part of the parlay, I guess you could say.
I think he still does it. I have him in one of mine. He's too talented to have bad weeks back to back.
Right, back to back. So that comes out to +500 with a boost. So that was actually really nice. But yeah, that's my parlay play of the day, and then best bet is just Eagles money or Eagles cover the spread and 24.5 over. 24.5 points.
I like it, man. And you're going with an Eagles win, obviously.
Yes. Eagles win 27-13. So once again, following Phil's
right on the dot.
lead 27-17. He went.
Why can you not
I
be
go
original?
27-13.
Be original.
Hey, I have it written down. You want to see it? I've written it down before the show.
Yeah. Whoa, we don't know if you wrote that down when Phil was talking. He's like,
I know that means nothing.
I said that's for Friday morning on trending.
I need a timestamp on that
I
one,
didn't even know.
Yeah, he said that Friday morning when he was bashing Joel Embiid. I'm going with an Eagles win today. I'm going with an Eagles win today. 27-14. No, I'm kidding. 27 number is so good because I think the offense will find a way to put up over 24 points, but I don't love them to crack 30. You know, like give me the 4 touchdowns. Just give me the 28 across the board and give me 28-20. I think they cover. Maybe Indianapolis gets a late score. But if I'm being honest, I still have all the faith in the world in this team. Last week, the one loss doesn't really do much for me, but I don't trust Gannon fully to keep Indy under 17. So 28-20, my play for the Eagles. I had them in a teaser money line. So love them to win the game there. Britton Covey, absolutely not. Quez, I'm not going Quez again because he fell down on me last week, which would have been a walk-in. But I do have a little parlay. Listen, it's always tough. Which way do I go? I'm going Jalen Hurts. If I go Miles Sanders, he just keeps it every time. I'm going with Jalen Hurts anytime touchdown. AJ Brown 40+ receiving yards and Miles Sanders 50+ rushing yards. It comes out to a little under plus 300. It's not a big one, but it's something simple. Now you all know that Boston Scott, Miles Sanders, and Kenneth Gainwell will score today on the ground, and Jalen Hurts will not run one in. Just the way things kind of go, or he'll throw for 4. KC money line, anytime TD, Miles, Hurts, and Brown. Going with the big 3. The big 3 today. It's not impossible, man. I was thinking about having Miles and Jalen in it. I just couldn't pull the trigger on it because I don't want to get burnt by one. But 3 Eagles wins. They bounce back. They improve to 9-1. Phil, real quick before we wrap up, I asked Scotty this on Turf Talk. Is there a world where you're not rooting for them, but you're okay with a Cowboys win today against the Vikings?
No, I that was exactly when I turned Turf Talk off. No, I'm never rooting for Cowboys win. Look,
real.
You got the tiebreaker over the Vikings. I could care less about the Vikings. No, you're not rooting for Giants or a Cowboys win ever. You're just take that.
I didn't say root. I said be okay with.
No, I'm not okay with it. No, take that fan card away. You should never be okay with the Cowboys winning.
Take your Joel Embiid jersey down. Take it down off the window.
It's a fake eBay Chinese jersey. The other side of it's probably melting from the sun coming in the window.
Damn, Phil, you are a real one, man. Oh my goodness.
The name's peeling off. It's peeling off.
As you can see, the real jersey's still hanging right there.
There you go.
There we go.
The man in the room.
Jimmy Butler never comes down, my man.
The man in the room. All right, guys, with 10 minutes to go before kickoff, go enjoy your Sunday. Hopefully the Eagles can bounce back, get to 9-1. Hopefully you win some money. But for myself, for Phil, for Scotty, check us out all together at DSM_media on Twitter. It's where you can find each and every one of our shows. All of our pregame shows stream exclusively live here on the YouTube channel. So make sure you're subscribed to DSM. Like this video, whatever you got to do. We greatly appreciate it. Have a great rest of your day and go Birds.
Go Birds.